They built a lightweight composite manufacturing company focused on sustainability, and they started with Surfboard. So thank you very much, Liesbeth, and thank you very much, Patricio, for being here. I'm here with Miguel in Santa Cruz, and we just want to have a conversation about this cool company and all this beautiful surfboard and everything else they are building here. So thank you, and please, Patricio, you are one of the founders, so please tell us what you are doing here.
We're building a dream here, really. I used to work as a mechanical engineer in a big entertainment company. And during my time there, I realized what it takes to build large things, like statues, facades, and things like that. And I also noticed all the waste that goes into building these things. And then when you look at the big picture of subtractive manufacturing in the world, about 20% of the original material gets turned into waste. So what that means is we're extracting 20% more out of our natural resources just to make products, and that 20% ends up in the landfill. What I realized is we need to make processes that produce less waste.
And what's the solution that you have found to fix this problem?
The first part is using additive manufacturing, and that's because with additive, you only use a material that you absolutely need because time is money. Yeah. There's several benefits from taking this approach. One of them is actually the materials that it unlocks, specifically for lightweight applications. So typically, when you're dealing with lightweight products, you're dealing with different types of foams, and the types of foams that are available are very limited, especially in the water sports industry. And what we have been able to do with 3D printing is basically unlock new supply chains for making lightweight composites.
So you mentioned 3D printing. So one of the core pieces of technology that you guys are working on is 3D printing. But we were talking before, Elizabeth, about materials, and you're kind of an expert also on materials. So tell us about what makes the materials that you guys use special and different from the current industry standard, and not only in surfboards, but also in other pieces of technology and other things that we were talking before. What makes it different?
I would say one of the big difference is, as Patricio said, is the source. So we don't use petroleum-based material. The material that we use is called PLA, and it's made from plants, and in our case is made from sugarcane. So it's a renewable resource that is also recyclable. It's a thermoplastic, so it means that the plastic can be melted and reshaped. So that offers a lot of possibility for recycling. And we also work with PETG. We make some of our products with recycled PETG. So in that case, it is a plastic, it's the same as what's used for plastic water bottles, but in this case, we use recycled ones. So again, we just are in a circular process here, where recycling is part of it. Yeah, so our goal is to be zero waste.
So you mentioned that you do multiple products. Here we see a lot of surfboard. We'll go back to talk about surfboard later. But I want to know, like, what do you build? Like, give me some example of what they can ask you to build.
Anything.
Anything. Shh.
Yeah, like Liesbeth said, we can literally build anything, but our strengths are large format, lightweight manufacturing. So if you really want to take advantage of what we have developed here, it's for applications that you need ultra lightweight. So it's typically things that are high performance, where flex matters for you, and you want to start, pushing the limits of what a product can do in that field. So we've seen a lot of great fits for our technology in sports. So water sports, cycling, aerospace as well, where things need to be light. They need to behave in certain ways, and they need to withstand quite a lot of forces.
Is a surfboard one of the first products because of the mix of all these things, like the importance of flexibility, resistance, durability?
Surfboards have to go through a lot of punishment. And quite frankly, the surfboards technology that's out there currently is about 50 years old, and not too much of it has been innovated on since then. I think as surfers, we've accepted, that 50-year-old technology as a normal thing. And so when we get pressure dings, for example, on our boards, on our second time taking it out, a brand new board, we're okay with that because that's just the way things are. But we've developed a technology here that doesn't have to be the way things are. Surfboards are the perfect industry to go into because it hasn't been innovated in quite some time, and the user also cares a lot about the environment too. So it's a perfect combination of someone that cares about sustainability, they care about the product that they're buying, the quality of the product has to be high in order for the board to be successful as well, for the product to be successful, and the forces that it's seeing really test the process that we're building here.
As you mentioned, for 50 years, this technology has not been revolutionized. Surfing that is better, worse, or the same? What's the difference there? Also because of the materials property.
You know, it's been 50 years, but it doesn't mean that people haven't been trying to revolutionize this industry.
Okay.
There's been a lot of attempts. The only problem is the cost. That's kind of the challenge there. Is like, how can you get a board that is sustainable, cost comparable to existing boards? You know, and a lot of existing boards these days are being made overseas as well.
Yeah.
And then how can you make them feel the same with that response and flex that everyone is so used to, which is critical to the performance aspect of shortboards. In order for our product to be successful and actually make a difference in this industry and in other industries, is it needs to be tunable and adjustable so that it can feel like other materials.
Yeah.
And so we like to say that at Swellcycle, you can design the board from the inside out, where we've developed a software that allows you to tune the board, allows you to change the center of mass, and that affects how the board will pivot. It affects how the board behaves under your feet. And it allows for designers to find new ways of building a board.
Because traditionally, all these features of a surfboard were given more by the outside shape. Right, with your technology, you have just unlocked a new way of customizing it inside. And so potentially you can have two boards that look the same and actually outside are shaped in the same way, but inside are shaped differently and behave differently on a wave.
And one of the really interesting examples that we've seen in some of the boards is we have this lattice that kind of spreads out near the nose. So it actually pulls the center of mass towards the tail. And people say, this is for like a mid-length, for example. And people say that it paddles like a mid-length because you have the length of the mid-length. But once you're up on it and you're surfing the wave, it feels like a shortboard.
Oh, wow.
And that sort of magic is what really makes this process so interesting and unique. So not only can we copy the properties of existing materials, but now designers can start tapping into completely new properties.
I've been involved in sustainability. I talked a lot about like electric vehicles, renewable energy, and a lot of the times comments I got from people is sustainability is very expensive. How do you guys like mix that with, you know, having a sustainable business?
You know, we've been around for 3 years, and typically, you know, you start getting to like cost competitiveness, especially against petroleum, once you're buying at scale. As of today, we're already selling boards that are comparable in cost to the boards that you can find in the market. And part of the reasoning for that is our process. We're able to reduce some of the labor. The product comes out basically 99% done and then ready to glass. And we're already comparable with traditional subtractive methods. And part of that is that we're not wasting 40% of the material that we bought. So actually being sustainable in theory should be less expensive as long as the materials are price comparable as well. And in our case, they are.
What's the process like, more or less, for a customer that wants to do something with you and use your technology?
So when someone comes to us, they just need the model and some parameters in terms of weight goals as well and strength characteristics, and then we can take care of the rest. So typically in, for example, surfboards, they have like a rough shape and then they get it CNC'd and then they hand shape it to like 99%. When they come to us, we ask for that file to be 99% already, because the products coming out of our machines are pretty much done. They just need a little bit of sanding, and then they're good to get surface, which is like the glassing stage.
What would you say, if I can ask, has been one of the biggest challenges you've had to come over to be where you are today? Because it's like
I would say the biggest challenge was getting the weight down while maintaining the strength and durability of the product. And there were a few times where I was like, I don't even think this is possible. We went through some pretty rough times trying to like get to that strength to weight balance. It's quite impressive to be able to reach that strength to weight with a renewable material.
So I know you work with shapers. How do they react when they come here and they're used to their style of shaping and they have to work with this new technology, new way of building? How do they react and how can they help you create better products?
Yeah, so like very basically for non-surfers, surfboards they can be hand-shaped or they can be partly shaped with a CNC machine. And it starts from a big block of foam, either polyurethane or expanded polystyrene. And this block of foam is shaped to get to the shape the designer wants. It's very wasteful. It's very toxic. There's a lot of dust. It's been shown that there's health issues associated to that. We've had shapers coming here and being like, whoa, this is so clean here. That's incredible.
Yeah, actually, I didn't think about it, but it's true. Like you build them here and it's very clean. Mm-hmm. It's very clean. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and very quiet too, because for
Absolutely.
shapers who use a CNC machine, it's actually very loud. So yeah, when they walk here, they see the space for the first time. Usually they're quite surprised with the difference.
So now how can they help you build a better surfboard? Because being a different technology, some of their knowledge can translate, but some others might not. So how do they support you in the process?
We've had a lot of support from a lot of shapers, and other shapers are more, traditionalists. And the way we've set this up is to amplify their work, so that shapers are designers. And if you look at other industries where there are designers, they've created a process that allows them to stay more in the mental space so that they can stay creative, and that's where they add the most value, rather than designing something and then going in and having to build it over and over again. So once you start getting into like production and having to make the same product over and over again, that's when we can help amplify their efforts. And then we want to help amplify their expression by being able to produce their work in a sustainable way that is also more durable than traditional foam products.
What if we talk about building a product like this, surfboard, at scale? Like, what's the advantage for a shaper or a company that needs to produce high numbers of boards?
That's actually one of our greatest benefits. So traditionally, if you wanted to make 100 of your boards, you either have two paths. Get them CNC cut, and then you have like 200 boards to basically shape and get ready. And then the other process is making a mold. It'll cost you, I don't know, anywhere between like $5,000 to $10,000, and then you can start, popping out boards that way as well.
Yeah. So first of all, between the two differences, one is really hard to like keep exactly the same shape all the time. Am I correct? Because you have to shape one by one, and there is always like some kind of human mistake or human difference in the process.
That's right.
And while the other one is more consistent, but there are some other negative aspects.
Yeah, it's more consistent, but that's actually the problem.
Okay.
It's so consistent that you're only getting one model, one size. And in surfboard manufacturing, you know that not one size fits all. So you actually have to have several molds of different sizes just for that one model. And so it starts to not make too much sense.
Yeah, the cost starts to add up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so,
in order to pay back the cost of the molds, you have to sell a high number of surfboards.
That's right.
Yeah. And what's the advantage of doing it with you?
Yeah, exactly. So with us, one machine, which can cost the same as a mold, can make any imaginable shape, any model, any size of that model, just by changing a few parameters from, let's say, Shape 3D or OcuShaper, whatever your flavor of software is, and you plug it in, and in 10 minutes, you can start printing that model.
Different shapes from the same machine, very fast. And also, I imagine that like you can print lower numbers, still a scale, but lower numbers, so you can like actually answer the demand and not like overstack and build an inventory that will be just a sunk cost.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can build to the demand, basically.
And also it's very fast, am I correct? Like building with your technique, like we were talking earlier, they can build like multiple boards a week. Let's say that. I don't want to be too precise. I don't know if you want me to be more. Yeah, you can speak about it if you want.
We can basically build a shortboard in a day.
Yeah.
And the benefits really come from the cost of the machine. So the printers, we spend a lot of time to make sure that they're affordable. And the idea is that we would license the printers or sell them to manufacturing shops for a very affordable price. So you could potentially buy multiple printers and have them all working in parallel, which would output the same number of boards at the end of the day as a CNC, who also requires an operator to be, flipping the blanks, cleaning up all the dust, and tending to the machine.
Yeah.
So
and still do it faster, so you can just start building once the order comes in, potentially.
exactly.
Or like close to that timing.
And at the end of the day, you get a tuned board that is more durable from renewable materials, and you're not locked into a specific size or model.
And you can, we talked earlier, you mentioned that you can also maintain a certain level of flexibility that with like mold is harder to get because they need to be stronger. Am I correct?
Yeah. So by tuning the internal lattice, you can adjust how the board responds when you apply certain loads. Whereas like molds, for example, molded boards that have like a urethane coating on the outside, they tend to be really stiff, and they don't have that flex that people are used to in the water.
One of your go-to-market strategies is to do a lot of demo days. You let the people try the product because, as we mentioned, it's a special industry and the client is very traditional. Some clients are very traditional and you want them to try this new product. And I know you do a lot of demo days. They actually have one tomorrow. So I want to know, what do the users say about this?
There's a lot of different feedback. There are people that we recently had an event in San Diego. We were at Camp Shred, which is the largest demo in the world. And some people would come and take a board for a demo. And they were very excited to get in the water, so they were not really listening to us. And then they would come back and they would be like, "What is that thing there?" And we're like, "Oh, it's the vent plug because they're hollow." And they're like, "What?" And they didn't even notice that like the board was different. Some people were just like riding the longboard and just like, I didn't even notice. And then on the other hand, some people are like, "Wow, it feels so alive and responsive in such a different way." Like people would say, when I carry it outside, it just feels like a normal board, and then when I'm in the water, it just paddles so nice, and it's like this difference between the hollowness of the board and the fact that they're buoyant brings this different feeling, and the material, the flex that we can bring, all of that is just, it just brings new sensations. And
I imagine also their answer and the feedback from the user depends on the level of the user. Like some will really not notice the difference because they're beginner or intermediate, and then the expert knows exactly how every board should behave and really feels the difference into that. I know that some of like great surfers have tried it, or like good expert surfer have tried your board. Are you trying to reach like the more consumer-based user or the higher hand performance boards? Like what's your path here?
The product, as of, I would say, 2 months ago, is good for the everyday user.
Yeah.
The boards are, I would say, like 3 times more durable than traditional boards. We're like constantly jumping on them, or hitting them with sledgehammers, and we're showing the durability of these boards where a traditional board would just like damage if you look at it, So
you drop it once, it's gone.
Yeah. And so the boards, as of 2 to 3 months ago, are ready for the average consumer, and we make some really fun boards that are, great for everyday conditions, such as, this board right here, made by Tigre Bona, or the No Complaints, which we have a few sitting there on the shelf. And as of, I would say, a month ago, we've developed a lattice that is comparable to lightweight polyurethane. So this is perfect for using it in competitions, and it's what professionals would be used to surfing. So this would be like a 5-pound shortboard, for example.
So we've actually talked about it in the tour, but what's coming after? What are your plans for using all of these materials, and where are you guys planning to use this technology?
We're basically building for the water sports industry. So we'll be going into foils, SUPs, kayaks, and the fact that we build the machines, we're able to adjust them to any size. And again, the focus is lightweight. And then also in aerospace as well, you can think about like drones as well as automotive, where sports and automotive come together. You can think about like motorcycles, fairings, bike equipment. So there's a lot of cool projects that we're working on. Yeah, stay tuned.
Thank you so much for having us. We'll give the floor to you. Any last words that you guys want to say, or any other message that you want to convey?
You know, something that we've noticed is that there's just less shapers. So if you look at the number of shapers that are in our generation compared to, you know, the number of shapers that were, you know, 2 or 3 generations ahead of us, it's dropped significantly. And, you know, part of that is because it's getting very hard to build a live shaping because it's so hard to compete with overseas production and, you know, economies of scale. And so that's something that we're also trying to improve on, is people can potentially, you know, make this a career if they have the right process to use. And the right process is what we're building here. Yeah. You know, the right process means you're using sustainable materials. They're affordable and price competitive in the market, and it allows for you to explore this design space. You know, your process, your manufacturing process, shouldn't be limiting you in terms of what you want to bring to the world.
We offer classes for people to learn how to use the shaping program, the shaping software.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it's great for shapers, but it's also like we've internally we all know.
Your shaping product or
The software.
So the software that
But do you
any
have-
shaper uses to make a board digitally, we offer classes to know how to use the software. And from the software that everyone uses, you can just send it into the printer, and that's how you make your board. So that just really offers the possibility for a lot of people to also explore this world. And with this class, they have the opportunity to do that.
Well, how can we help? Who are you looking for? Who are the right people for you? How can we support you? This is a surprise question. We didn't prepare this.
Nice. Well, we're a small company. You know, we've been around for 3 years, and we're 4 people working here. So we're small and we're nimble and very efficient, and we've done a lot. You know, so we have really smart people working here, and we're looking for more smart people to help us out make this dream a reality. And right now we're in our seed round, so we're raising funds, and we're also looking to hire some engineers in mechanical engineering, robotics, as well as sales to help us with spreading the word and spreading the dream.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. Thank you for opening your doors to our humble project. Yeah. The goal is for us to keep learning from people like you that are building things, and we hope to share that with the audience and the people that watch us. So thank you so much, and we hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so this was not planned, but I will try one of their boards, and it's a longboard. I never surfed a longboard, so good luck. First time longboard, first time 3D printed longboard.
This is a 24-pound board, so it's a heavy longboard, you know. So you would think that it would sit a little, you know, deeper in the water.
No, it stays on it. It floats really well. And you can catch waves that don't exist. Like I was paddling to waves that I couldn't even see.
And shaped it himself, and then he brought it into us. We scanned it, and then after that, he was like, "Let's tweak it a little bit." So we gave it like more.
I see, like a little
more spine at the back, which makes it stiffer. And then on the tail there, we give it a little more kick.
Yeah.
And that actually helps with the stall when you're nose riding. So it like allows you to like hold it like a lot longer too, with a lot more speed. and say you're shaping a longboard, for example, now you can tweak it after that. And you're like, oh, I wish I made the rails a little thicker. We can go in there and like make them thicker for the next one to like fractions of an inch within like 1/16. So it's pretty accurate.
You can catch all the knowledge and all the abilities that they have and just improve it.
Exactly. So we're just adding on top of that. So the way it scoops like that, we added that after the fact. So the
After
one,
the first, the original.
the original was straight.
Really fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. Great time out there, man.